Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Alpine Hippie, and today we're going to be going over some of my first attempts at really niche nerdy art projects. Like a lot of you guys out there, I'm sure, when I start consuming a new IP, I generally develop a favorite character, or at least a character that I think is the coolest. And when I have characters like that, I always like to have something to commemorate them. I like finding a unique poster, a cool action figure, something to support the fact that they are one of my favorite characters in the show. And when I start liking a character that's like a little more niche or for some reason doesn't have that kind of stuff, it really bugs me. And I always find myself being like, you know what, if I can't find it, even if it's something I don't usually do, I'll just do it myself. I'll make it. So Demon Slayer is one of the animes that I was really getting into when I started popping off, and I really liked Giyu Tomioka, but I couldn't find any cool, classy looking things of him, so I did this wood burning of him, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't understand any of the tactics for wood burning at the time. I just got one of those little $15 kits. I'll just hold it here because it's cool. I got one of those $15 kits for it, just the wood burning ones from Walmart, and I just drew it on in pencil. I just looked up a cool picture and tried to draw it on here best I could to fit this shape. And after I penciled it on, I just wood burned it with pressing on different areas harder for the texture and stuff like that. It took me a really long time. This took me an absurd amount of time, but it's really cool. I really like that I did this one because it was completely from scratch. I drew it on in pencil. I did all the wave stuff myself and figured out to do a cool pattern with it for the water breathing and stuff. And I really like it. This is actually one of my favorite things I've ever done, and I have it on display in my basement, which is where I hang out most of the time. My second thing I did, and this is kind of more on theme with what I got going on here, but Killer Queen from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is my favorite stand. And I think he's so cool. Yoshikage Kira is my favorite character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He's crazy, obviously. He's modeled after David Bowie, which I always thought was really cool. The second that I saw him, I recognized him as David Bowie. I'm really into classic rock, which is a huge reason I also got into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because of all the classic rock Easter eggs in that show. Outside of just the modeling of his character, he's based off of the serial killer Ted Bundy, loosely. Ted Bundy did a lot of his work, for lack of a better word, in Utah, which is where I'm from, so a lot of his lore is heavily based out of here, so he's a figure that I know a lot about. So there was just a lot of familiar things about Kira as a character, and I just thought that was really cool. And then on top of it, the stand Killer Queen. Queen's my favorite band. Killer Queen's obviously named after the song Killer Queen from Queen, and I loved that. So all that combined with the fact that I actually loved the design, I just think it's so unique. I love, it's just I don't know how to describe it. It's this very flamboyant. It's obviously an ode to Freddie Mercury. The flamboyant outfit, the posing, it's just so cool. Killer Queen's abilities are also just the coolest thing ever. They're so overpowered. It makes it so everything he touches turns into a bomb and can just be exploded without a trace. So it's a perfect thing for a serial killer in those cases where he has people that he targets in it. But he also has an autonomous stand that he can target onto people, and it targets them with heat, so it just relentlessly goes after the targets that Kira has put them on using a heat seek until it gets them and blows them up. And there's very, very limited ways that you can stop this thing. You pretty much think it's invincible up to some of the main protagonists in the show taking care of it. So I just love his character. The season that he's in Morio Town is just the best season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in my opinion, and I have such a fun time just geeking out about this character in particular. Obviously, I have the ear thing. It's silly, but it's just because I like Killer Queen. I think he's a cool stand. My old studio had some Killer Queen stuff behind it, and it's a lot of fun. I just like geeking out about the characters that I like. This particular model, me making it, I had to actually go to my local library and use a 3D printer there. You can rent them out. They're very, very cheap. It only cost me like $8. But I had them mock this up. I downloaded it for free from some website that does 3D models for free. People just submit them. It's open source. It was really cool and easy. I should probably find it and link it. But it was really easy to do. I 3D printed it. You actually have to like chip off all the excess, which took a really, really long time. Like if you look closely, there's some like imperfection areas. I don't know if you can see any of them, but there's some imperfection areas on it that I couldn't get it all off. But once you chip it all off, I then just, did some paint mixing, and it took a long time to meticulously get it all painted up, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed making it. It's obviously a product. I'm proud of this. It turned out pretty cool. Obviously, it's not perfect. It has a lot of imperfections on it, but I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm really glad I have some memorabilia from the show. The only other action figures I could find for this guy were like $100 or more, which I just don't have that kind of money to spend on an action figure. But yeah, that's kind of just a quick little rundown of some of the things I've made and, why I like them. And yeah, all that being said, signing off.